Welcome to this masterclass in marketing out competition and marketing differentiation. So, most e-com founders are fighting the wrong battle. They're trying to beat competition who are bigger, better funded, and are already winning. But there's actually a smarter way, and the brands that figure it out, they scale 3 times faster. So, if you've never heard about the terms marketing out competition and marketing differentiation before, then don't worry, I'm going to take you through what those two mean and how to play the game within each of them to make sure that you as an ecom brand can scale in the most efficient way possible, depending on your product and depending on the market that you're in. So let's take a look and let's just get into it. So every ecom brand has exactly two strategy options. There's outcome there's basically outcompete the brands that are fighting for the same customer or differentiate by refusing to play their game. And I will say most e-commerce brands that we speak to that are generating anywhere between 50 and 250,000 euros a month have already picked one of these, but haven't done it deliberately. They have picked it by basically not knowing what it was, and then they've been doing it 30% and they've been doing it 25% of the other one. So they've kind of been using both of these strategies at the same time without knowing. And once it becomes clear which one is the most effective way to go for your brand, then one, you can do it better because you now focus on one thing, but it also becomes more obvious what you need to do to actually grow past where you are right now. Might be that you've been stuck. So path one and path two. So the first path, outcompete, beat them at the same game. So we're going to be using the same avatar with better execution than your competitors. We have better ads, better funnel, and broader awareness stage coverage. So you dominate the market your competitors had already validated, and maybe even yourself as well. That's the first one. The other one is differentiate. So refuse to play their game. So we take the same product as your competitors and what you're doing right now. So you have picked the same product that other competitors are selling, but we're having a completely different conversation with our customers and clients about it. So what we want to do is find an avatar that no one is fighting for, and we want to own it first. And basically, we make sure there is zero direct competition. So let's look at each of them separately and see what makes sense and what is included, what is kind of expected from each of these strategic options. So let's see. If we want to take the first path, outcompete, it's basically the name of the game is we want to beat your customers by having better marketing towards the same avatar. An avatar basically means customer. So we're going to target the same customer your competitors are targeting, but we're going to win through execution. So this is best for brands with stable cash flow and strong marketing knowledge. And there's a few steps that we have to do in order for us to uh, better understand how to attack this scenario or this path here. So the first step is we want to map your competitors because of course we can't outcompete what we don't understand. So we want to both map direct competitors, people that are selling the same product as you're doing, and we also want indirect competition, which is basically the same pain point but selling through a different mechanism, different product, a different way of achieving the same outcome as your product is giving them. So the way that we do that is we look at the avatars of our competitors. Who are they currently selling to? We look at which pain points they are targeting, which ad formats are they running with, and what's working in their account based on, well, how long has each format been working, and the positioning. So how do they show up in the market? Where do they position themselves? Once we've done this, we find their weak spots. So every competitor has a gap that they're not filling. And their weakness is basically an entry point for you. If you haven't already found it, well, now you've got a good angle to fill up a gap that your competitors are not filling. First one is awareness stage gap. Are they only running to solution aware, or are they also running to product aware, but they're ignoring the unaware market? And if you're not sure what the awareness stages are, then I have a YouTube video about that on my channel. Also want to look at the funnel gap. Are they only sending cold traffic straight to a product page without any listicles or tutorials? That's also a gap that we could fill. And then we have the format gap. So missing video ads, or they're only using video ads. There's a wide creative gap in almost any ecom brand, because there will be one format that is winning for them, and then they kind of neglect the other ones because they don't understand that every video, or not every video, but every ad has a purpose, even though it might not be generating conversions. So we're going to find the weak spots, and once we've done that, we want to map every awareness stage, because most competitors, they only speak to 1 or 2 awareness stages. Max 3 is what we typically see, and then the best ones, of course, cover all 5, which is what we want to do. So we want to have ads that are targeting the unaware audience, doesn't know that the problem exists yet. The problem aware feels the pain, but not the solution. Solution aware, they're comparing possible answers and possible products. Product aware, they know you, but they're not convinced yet. And then we have the most aware, they just want it, but they need a little bit of a nudge. So once we have these 3 steps done, we can attack where they're weak, because now we can see everything laid out in front of us, and we can see where are they weak. So we want to capture the audience that your competitors refuse to serve. And there are 2 moves here. First, we want to own the audience, so either through listicles, editorials, VSLs, educational content, to make sure that the stages, awareness stages that our competitors ignore, we own them. And if that is the unaware, then we have to have listicles, tutorials, VSLs, etc., etc. Second move is outcompete the funnel. We want better ads, better landing pages, and a better creative iteration speed than our competitors. And the outcome of this path is that we're dominating a market that our competitors, or your competitors, have already validated. So we're going for the same customers, but you win the conversion war through sustainable, predictable growth on a proven audience. So this, of course, is harder to do, but it is also a safer way, because you know there's already demand for what you're selling. But we're just going to find what the rest of the market is not really serving and what they're doing wrong. Let's take a look at differentiation. So differentiation marketing is basically, we're going to find the avatars that your competitors are not targeting, and then we're going to own them first. So we're not going to fight for the same customer. We're going to find a customer that no one is fighting for with the same product, but a completely different messaging. So this is best for saturated markets or expensive direct competition. There's also a few steps here. First, we of course want to understand what your product actually solves. So what we see is sometimes we speak with founders who know only the surface level benefits about the product, but we want to know everything. So the real differentiation starts with knowing every problem that your product can solve. And we pull this from, or we pull this avatar data from 3 different layers, and the combination is basically what's going to reveal the untapped avatars. So the first layer is first-party data. So it can be customer survey data, reviews, support tickets, returning customer behavior. So basically any data that we have from your store at this point in time. Because if you're doing 50 or maybe even just 100K per month, you still have a lot of data coming in from your current customers. The second layer is market research, which you might already have been doing, but we found that Reddit threads, Amazon reviews, forum questions, search trends, they reveal a lot about what people think, what they talk about, which language they're using about your product category or your specific product sometimes. So we'll use that as the second layer. Third layer is ingredient or material or anything of that sort research. So this can be studies and clinical use cases for active components in the product. This is of course specific to consumables, but it can also just be something simple as fabric for clothes. So we want to find out what's going on here. And then when we have that, we're going to map our top avatars from real data. So same product solves different problems for different people. We want to map that out because people, they do have completely different problems, fears, and desires and daily lives. So we want to map that out. And just one example here for a magnesium supplement, actually, which is pretty popular in Scandinavia and probably all around the world at this point. Let's see how we can have 4 different avatars. So the first avatar is going to be sleep struggles. So you can take magnesium with, or basically if you have sleep problems, looking for natural support. So these are people that don't want anything to do with medicine that can make you addicted to it. So this is the first avatar. The second avatar is athletic recovery. Muscle cramps and recovery issues, that's also something magnesium can help with. Stress and burnout over here, so stress professionals dealing with anxiety and burnout. And the last one here, women's hormonal balance, PMS, hormonal balance, and energy through cycles. So as you can see, these are for completely different avatars, but basically the same product matches all of them and can help all of them in different ways. So that is just an example of mapping avatars to multiple problems. Now, the third step is check which avatars competitors already own. So if every magnesium brand is talking about sleep, well, we don't want to enter there, of course. We want to enter with stress and burnout or hormonal balance. So the on-tap persona, where you have same product, different persona, and zero direct competition, that's where we want to enter. And that's where we want to allocate our resources. We also want to study indirect competitors. So map indirect competitors as well, which I also mentioned early on. So this is going to be brands selling different products to the same avatar, because that's often where real angles are hiding. So for the stress avatar C here, this can also be products like ashwagandha, L-theanine, or other adaptogens, because this is different mechanisms, but it's going to deliver the same solution, or not the same solution, but it's going to deliver the same outcome for the same person. So what language do they speak? What problem framing wins for the people that are selling these types of products? For the women's hormonal avatar, could be Vitex, Evening Primrose, B Complex. Again, same target customer, but different ingredients. And their best ads tell you the angle that we need to target. Now, step 5 is build a customized funnel for that avatar. Because once we've kind of untapped or found our avatar, well, now we have to build the funnel component specifically for them. So pre-landers, avatorial, or listicles, we want to build specifically for this new avatar. Education first, especially if it's the unaware stage that we want to target first. Product page, again, can stay broader because it might be able to serve multiple avatars, but we want to make sure that the messaging in our ads and our product page and also pre-landers are coherent. So what we're saying in our ads should also be present on our product page. And then ad creative, we want unaware to aware formats. Problem aware and solution aware angles are going to be pretty easy winners. Product aware can also be, but might not always be. Sometimes what we see is when we go for this strategy, we have to start from the unaware and then build from there, not from most aware and backwards. So you don't always need a new avatar. Sometimes you also need a sharper one than what you're doing right now. So let's take an example with the magnesium brand again. Most magnesium brands, they target people who can't sleep, which is very broad, and it only resonates with the already aware buyers. A sharper version could be high performers who can switch off at night despite being exhausted. That's very specific, it's emotionally loaded, and there's way less competition. So the outcome of the second path is going to be a market position no competitor talks to. So even though you're selling the same product as a bunch of other companies, you basically have a whole market to yourself that you've found through research that the other competitors have just neglected for too long. So this is how challenger brands beat without spending more than the big dogs on the market. So when to use which? Both paths, they work. The only question is what kind of fits your brand right now. So I'd say there are two rules that you can kind of go by. You can use outcompete, the outcompete method, when you have proven cash flow and a market worth fighting for. So stable revenue, strong marketing knowledge, and a competitor's market that you can outrun on execution. But you want to use the differentiation strategy when the direct market is too saturated or unaffordable. So if competitors are too expensive to outspend, if they're already too big, or you're entering a new geography and want a fresh angle. So what I will say though is that it's very important that you understand that these two branches work together. So you don't necessarily have to pick one if you have strong cash flow. You can do both. So outcompete on your competitors' proven avatars while launching differentiation funnels into untapped avatars at the low awareness stage, because then you're going to be growing on both fronts. But of course, you don't want to do this too soon because it is quite demanding on the ad spend and the workload will also increase dramatically. So once you have stable cash flow coming in and that you have the ability to build a good team, then this makes sense because then you're going to be growing on both fronts. And that is basically what's going to make you go from a 1 million euro a year brand to a 10 million a year brand. If you can basically take these two strategies and combine them together at the same time with high quality, of course. So the result is that the brands scaling fastest aren't the ones with the best product or the biggest budget, but they're the ones who know which strategic mode they're in and run both when they can. So this clarity, as I mentioned before, is basically what separates you from a 1 million euro brand to a 10 million a year brand. So if you want us to map your competitors and find your untapped avatar, maybe you've hit a ceiling, you're not growing how you used to be, the growth has kind of stalled a bit, then book a team with me or my team below this video, or in the link below this video, and we'll basically show you exactly which strategy to go for, what makes sense for your specific product and industry, and also how we can help you do so and make sure that we execute upon that strategy, or even if it's both, execute on both strategies with high precision, but also making sure that it's spending your budget in an efficient way and that you're profitable all the way. So yeah, without further ado, I hope you have a great day and that you got some value out of this video.